Hello and welcome to another episode of 7 Minutes of Precision. My name is Sharif, I'm your host, and today we are joined by Joel Schneider, a competitive shooter and a person who has been active in the shooting community over the last 5, 6 years. He's going to tell us. Joel, welcome to the show.
Hi, Sharif. Thanks for having me.
How are you doing? Oh, we have another
3 years now.
guest.
Yeah, so I started this about 3 years ago.
Okay, it's
And,
okay. She can join us.
I just kind of, like a lot of people, I fell into it head first and completely obsessed, dropped all other hobbies for the sport. I shoot PRS, rimfire and centerfire.
So, have you started with like precision shooting, or you were shooting other kind of firearms before you did
Um,
that?
so I grew up shooting as a kid from northern
Okay.
BC. My dad used to shoot a little bit competitively.
Hmm.
And so I've been behind a gun since I was really, really young, um,
Okay.
hunting and hanging out in the bush and that sort of stuff. But I honestly, I dropped off for a long time until I was, you know, about 30 years old. I didn't pick up a firearm again. I bought myself a hunting rifle. Immediately realized that I wanted to shoot long range with it, and
Okay.
that was the start of my journey.
So the PRS was for the last 3 years, you said. That's correct?
Yes, that's right.
Okay. Awesome. All right. And today, Joel, you and I, we discussed, we want to talk a little bit about, let's say we have a beginner shooter or a person who's been shooting other firearms and wants to get into the precision or long range shooting. And we wanted to discuss maybe the first thing we can help with is how to choose a rifle,
Right.
right? Okay. So we'll have this conversation. Let's start by talking about factory rifles and custom rifles.
Okay. Yes. Okay. So I started with a factory rifle
Hmm.
in the beginning. Actually, I shot my first. Yeah, that's not really true. The factory rifle I began shooting long range with before I started competing was a Browning X Bolt and 6.5 Creedmoor. It was primarily a
Okay.
hunting rifle, but I managed to get out pretty far with it, and it was a good rifle.
And that one is quite a light rifle, right? It's not really considered a
I
heavy
had
barrel, is it?
no, I had a model that was called the Long Range Hunter or something. So it had a heavier barrel. It
Okay.
was a little bit more oriented towards long range shooting.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, and it got the job done, but I rapidly found that it didn't produce the kind of accuracy that I wanted to get out of it. And
Okay.
that's especially true when you get into PRS or precision shooting in general is an accuracy requirement.
Right.
Um,
So before we get into the accuracy requirement, now you're shooting a custom rifle.
I am.
Okay. So from your opinion, the first recommendation, should someone start with a custom rifle or with a factory rifle? Now, regardless if they have the money or not.
Right. So that's an impossible question to answer because it really depends on the level of commitment a person wants to put in and
Fair enough.
financial as well.
Hmm.
Um, I'll advocate for a custom rifle 100% of the time. You
Hmm.
get so much more out of your equipment.
Okay.
Uh, the, it's the level of precision in the barrels, in the action, in the optics, in the chassis is far superior to what you can get from a factory rifle. It's
Yeah.
not to be said there are some really good factory options out there. Everybody knows Tika's shoot and Rem 700s and Bergaras, and there's some really good factory options out there, and it's a great place to start.
Hmm.
What I would recommend if you're going to start with a factory rifle, look at aftermarket support and upgradability.
Okay. I think, from my opinion, I think there is an advantage to starting with a factory rifle because when you're starting, there's a lot that you don't know. So,
Yeah.
actually, if someone asks me that question, I would recommend to start with a factory rifle until you get a little bit seasoned, you know what exactly you want, because there are a lot of options out there.
Mhm.
And if you don't know what you're looking for, you're only taking recommendations from someone like that's what they like, not necessarily what you're gonna like or what you're gonna develop over time when you're shooting. Correct?
Yeah, that's absolutely true. Yeah, which is why again, upgradability and aftermarket support. So things that are specifically the Remington 700 platform. It's
Hmm.
the bolt pattern for the action screws. The triggers are fairly universal. That Remington 700 platform, if you were to start with a factory rifle in that configuration, it really opens up a lot of options moving forward.
So what is a RIM 700 footprint? Because I think we always speak that lingo, but maybe not new people are not really following.
So the Remington 700 footprint refers to uh, the profile of the receiver itself, the location of the action screws, and the trigger hanger mechanism.
Okay.
And so they're all a little bit different. All the firearms manufacturers produce something a little bit different, but with the Remington 700 platform, that's the way most custom rifles have gone, um, using that same bolt patterns, really.
Yeah.
So
So that is not a Remington rifle. We're not talking about the Remington brand. We're only talking about the base, the footprint,
that's correct.
where it interacts with the chassis.
Yeah, that's correct. So it's the inlet.
Yeah, I like to explain it a little bit. When I explain to someone, I explain it as a Jeep Wrangler. A lot of people have a lot of Jeep Wranglers, but because it's one of the common SUVs or off-road vehicles, there's a lot of options, a lot of aftermarket support for it compared to maybe other SUVs or other off-road vehicles.
Yeah, that's a good analogy. Yep.
Yeah. Okay. So first recommendation, if you want to get something that maybe can help you for long range shooting, you would want to start with a RIM 700 footprint.
That's my recommendation. Yep. And lean
Okay.
towards a heavier barrel. A heavier barrel will dissipate heat
Okay.
better,
Mm-hmm.
and is less likely to turn into a noodle when it gets hot, for lack of better terminology.
Okay.
Um, so that heavier barrel can take longer, sustained strings of fire without heating up and
Mm-hmm.
depreciating accuracy.
And do you have any recommendations for factory rifles that are RIM 700 footprint?
The Bagara B14 is a
Okay.
really good place to start. Remington 700 as
Mm-hmm.
well.
Mm-hmm.
Um, or some other options. Those are the two really good places to start for an R700 footprint.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, let's say I already own a Savage
Mm-hmm.
and I want to get into long range shooting or any other rifle other than Savage, bolt action rifle with a heavy barrel. Do I really have to change that and try to go to a REM 700 footprint?
No, of course not. Absolutely not.
Okay. So there are options out there. Maybe you're not going to have as much options with the RM700 footprint.
Mm-hmm.
For example, I remember I had a Savage when I started, and one of the things, so I could find chassis for it. I was able to get an MDT XRS for it, but I couldn't modify the trigger, and there weren't a lot of options for the trigger. I think there was only one option at the time.
Yeah, the
Um,
Savage, they have I think they call it the Acu trigger. It's got the red blade on it.
exactly.
It's
Yes.
quite a bit better than the factory one, but that really is the extent of your options, I think. And yeah,
I think there's
MDT is
only one manufacturer that makes a trigger, but it was like super expensive at
right.
the time, I guess, for me. But yeah.
Yeah, guys like MDT, they're making inlets for all kinds of different configurations now. Like
Yeah.
I haven't even looked at the list, but if you've got a rifle that you're happy with and you want to upgrade the chassis, for example, have a look at something like MDT and see what they provide, because they're making inlets for just about everything now.
Yeah. MDT, KRG, I think Cadix as well. They make some chassis for other options other than RIM 700 footprint.
The OGs does a lot as well. Yeah.
Yeah. But then again, if you are just like, if you're buying a rifle, you might as well start with a RIM 700 footprint.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
Yeah.
And now we said for the barrel, we would like to have a heavy barrel. So actually, let me ask you about the caliber. What is one of the good options to start with?
So in PRS, if we're specifically talking PRS, most
Mhm.
everybody is shooting a small 6 millimeter.
Right.
So that's a 6BR or variant,
Mhm.
6 millimeter Creedmoors, um,
6 GT.
6 GT. There are countless, and they are
Yes.
all very, very good. And we shoot similar bullets, similar speed, and any of those are options.
But
If you
most
want
of
to,
these, sorry, most of these are reloads. I don't think they exist in factory ammunition.
6 Creedmoor is readily available in factory.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So I shoot a 6 millimeter Dasher, which is a 6BR variant,
Okay. Yeah.
and that's reload only. It's not available in factory, and
Mhm.
that you're right. That is true for most in most cases.
Yeah.
Um, 6.5 Creedmoor, extremely available,
Absolutely,
very
yes.
accurate. That's a probably all around best place to start.
I would have to agree. I started with 308, and 308 is a great caliber, but once you start hitting the 800 meters, you're not really getting that much speed. You're actually falling in transonic, and things are less accurate. If you compare that to the ballistics of 6.5 Creedmoor, maybe up to 1200 before you hit transonic, so you're going to be able to shoot further. And maybe when you're starting, maybe you're not even looking at shooting that further, but you will get there, and you will probably get there quicker than you think. Also,
Yeah,
if you have the space to shoot.
it doesn't take long to
Mhm.
get out there. It's really not that difficult. It just requires some information and some patience.
And what about 223? Is also one of the maybe common rounds, but
Yeah,
less.
I know a lot of guys that shoot 223 in competition. So 308 and 223 opens up what's called tactical class,
Yes.
um, which is kind of its own thing on its own. But the 223 is very capable, but with shooting those lighter bullets,
Hmm.
it's tough to get out there super far.
Okay. Um, what about packages? So there are some companies that will have a package of like a chassis, rifle, and everything is ready for competition. What is
Yep,
your thoughts on that?
I think that's a great place to start. I'm not really super familiar with the packages. I know, yeah, Savage has one.
Yeah.
I've heard rumor that Ultimatum is going to put one together.
Okay.
Um, I think MPA does one.
Hmm.
Masterpiece Arms.
So would you recommend to start with a package, or would you recommend to start with a rifle and then choose your own chassis, what you like, and the you get the adjustability you want? What's your recommendation for someone who's starting?
If you want to get out and shoot, I think a built rifle ready to go, take it out and shoot it is the best place to start.
Okay, so you prefer have it, go to the range, get started.
Yeah, you will learn on your journey what you want for your next one. This is not the
Okay.
only rifle I have. You will make more.
So chassis and stock,
Yeah.
what is the adjustability that you want? Like the minimum adjustability that you want?
Right. So cheek riser
Okay.
is a really good adjustable piece. Get your eye exactly where you want it for that repeatability. So your face is always making contact with the rifle at the exact same place.
Yeah.
Length of pull
Hmm.
adjustability.
What's length
Uh,
of pull?
Length of pull is the distance from the buttstock to the trigger shoe.
Okay.
Modern rifles, we're running them a lot shorter than perhaps in the past. We've been
Okay.
there's been big leaps and bounds in rifle geometry in the past 20 years and
Hmm.
the way people are shooting. And
Okay.
so we've shortened our length of pull. I run this at about 12 3/4 inches from the butt to the trigger shoe.
Okay.
And that's very adjustable. I can stretch this one out to, I don't know what it is, 13 or 14 inches
Right.
at least.
And well, this is gonna bring me. So you said cheek riser, length of pull.
Yep.
What is an arc rail, and why is everyone using an arc rail nowadays?
Arca rail came from the photography world,
Yeah.
and it's a dovetailed rail that's on the bottom
Hmm.
that allows your components like bipods and tripods and attachments to slide and position anywhere you like in the whole length of the rail system.
And that's pretty much nowadays is I would start and call that a standard. That's what pretty
I
much
think
everyone is using.
so. Yeah, and
Hmm.
it's moving into the hunting world, maybe not quite fast enough because
Yeah.
it's so universal and it works really well. Um, and I've got Arca on all of my rifles, including my hunting stuff. It's it's just a really great system. It doesn't add any extra weight or
Yeah.
it just works.
So I think some rifles will still maybe use like Picatinny for bipods, but if you are building a rifle and maybe getting into the precision shooting, I think going with an arc rail and the options, there's a lot of options. There's a lot of companies that make them. So I think there's a lot of options to go with an arc rail.
Definitely, and a lot of manufacturers are producing them in their chassis, specifically the aluminum chassis. It's built right in there.
Okay. So now we talked about the arcers. What about bipods?
Bipods. Yeah, bipod is a must. Um, Adjustability
Hmm.
really is what it boils down to. Being able to rest the front of your rifle down and adjust the height to wherever you see fit.
So that's
There's
an MDT
tons of
Skypod that you have in
bipod.
your hands, right?
This is an MDT Skypod.
Hmm.
Yeah,
So now bipods get quite expensive. You can go up to like maybe $1,000 just for a bipod, right?
yeah, these ones
So,
are.
so that's quite expensive,
It
especially for
is.
someone who is starting. What would you recommend? What other options they can start with?
MDT's got this. This is the ground pod. It's
Yeah.
very similar in a lot of ways.
Mhm.
I have no idea what the price is on it, frankly, but it's
I think it's
significant.
I think it's at 300 Canadian.
Yeah, so it's quite a bit less.
Mm-hmm.
The Atlas is somewhere between 300 and 500, I think.
Yeah.
There's the Accutac stuff,
Mm-hmm.
and then there's the old Springy Harris, even.
Yes. Hey guys, real quick. Have you seen our new ARS Mag Holster for AICS magazines? It features our new auto retention system, meaning you don't need to manually adjust retention of your mag holster anymore. All you have to do is grab your mag, put it in the holster, push straight down, and you got all the retention that you need. If you'd like to learn more about the features of this mag holster, click the link right up here and it will take you to our video going over all its features. And if you're listening to Spotify, you'll find the link of that video in the description down below. Now, let's get back to the podcast. So I'm gonna make a recommendation right now. Please, please, please don't go on Amazon and get a knockoff Atlas or a Harris bipod. You think you're gonna be saving money, but actually you're gonna be losing money because it's just not gonna be as good. It's not gonna be as steady, and it's gonna break on you. So don't cheap out when you're getting a bipod, or actually anything when you're getting into the precision shooting. Just make sure to get good stuff.
Yep, 100%.
All right, so muzzle brakes and threaded barrels. Should we go with a threaded barrel, or it doesn't really matter?
Yeah, definitely. Muzzle brakes reduce a tremendous amount of recoil,
Mm-hmm.
and reducing that recoil allows you to get back on target and see where you hit or missed and make better judgment calls for your next shot.
Okay. So, and I think the common is 5.8/24. When you are selecting a
Yeah.
barrel, one thing I would recommend is make sure to get a thread that's common. Occasionally, we will get a customer that has like an M15x1, but there isn't a lot of options for muzzle brakes. So, a good place to start is 5.8 or 3/4 for threaded barrels.
Yep.
Okay.
Or there's a half inch by 24 as well that's on rimfire stuff.
Yeah, and
Small
that's
calibers.
actually a very good point you bring up. What about 22 and rimfire competitions or rifles in that case?
CZ 457 is the benchmark.
Okay, so
Really,
would you recommend someone to start with rimfire compared to centerfire, or the other way around? Or
they're two different animals altogether. They there's a lot of crossover, certainly.
yeah,
One cannot prepare you entirely for the next.
Mm-hmm.
Rimfire is significantly cheaper to shoot. Ammunition's a lot cheaper. It's more available to get out and shoot as well because you need much shorter ranges. Yeah. It's definitely more accessible, and it's a great time. Rimfire is fantastic.
And that's one thing I'd say also before you get into this, and if you plan on competing, check out what are the competitions that happens around you and how far they are. Because if you're in an area that doesn't have distances and long ranges, you're not going to be able to shoot center fire that easily, and maybe rim fire is going to be a much better option for you, especially as someone who's starting.
Yep, for sure.
Yeah. Okay. What else would you actually, before I get into that, what do you think about custom rifles? If you go with a custom rifle, what would be the recommendations?
My recommendation for a custom rifle is, presuming you're going to have seen a few already, is try some out at matches. Get a feel for them. Ask people. Talk about it. That's that's how this sport grows. Is you get out there and you shoot and you see stuff that other people have and you try it out and you see what you like and what you dislike. There's a whole bunch of different actions out there. There's a lot of barrel manufacturers that are all very good. In Canada, it's tough to get options, but we've got a couple really good Canadian barrel
Mhm.
manufacturers. uh, IBI produces amazing barrels, and you can get one at your house in a
And
week.
now we're starting to see also like barreled actions. So instead of like grabbing an action and a barrel and going to a gunsmith to like chamber it for you, companies now are selling barreled actions. So you get it, you drop it in the chassis, put a scope on it, and you're good to go.
Yep,
Awesome.
yep, definitely.
Okay. Any other recommendations when you're buying a rifle, when getting in competitions, things like that?
You want to get into optics?
Let's leave optics for another episode. It's I think
Yep.
it's a deeper ocean.
Yeah, yeah. So, removable magazines.
Oh yeah, we forgot that one.
Yeah, 10 round removable magazine is a must in PRS.
Yes. So if you're buying a rifle, let's say you're buying a Savage or something, and it doesn't have so what we call the AICS standard or AW standard magazines, make sure that you can get 10-round magazines at least. Most competitions
Yeah,
now are either 10 or 12 rounds per stage. You can get away with
yeah.
10.
This is a 12.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, yeah, and you can get away with 10, but you might be forced into a mag change.
Yeah, which also brings me to the next point. Try to have two magazines if you can afford, and if you can have two magazines, have two new because
Yeah,
that's going to be useful in competitions.
definitely. And magazines are one of those things that they break down over time, and sometimes they don't
Hmm.
perform as well as they should. I go to every match with 4 mags. I only use one most of the time, but they're one of those
And
things.
that's one of the good things going with an AICS magazines is that if you have a mag that fails on you, you probably can borrow another one in a match.
Definitely, yeah. Somebody will have one.
One thing I'd also recommend is try if you're coming into this and you're thinking you don't want to compete, give it a try because you'll find that competitions are challenging. You're going to get to talk to people. You'll find you're going to have a lot of good time. Don't feel like intimidated about competing and thinking that you're not there yet. You'll never be there if you
No,
don't try and go compete, right?
it's not like that either. There is a level of competition, but the competition in precision shooting is really against yourself and personal
Yeah.
growth. Um, the community is extremely good and welcoming, and yeah, I can't say enough about it. Just get out and shoot a match;
Yeah.
you'll love it.
I've been meaning also to ask you this. I think you do also some dryer fire training. Is that correct?
Yeah, not as much as I should, but I do.
And when you do, because people are maybe more aware of like pistol dry firing. How do you do, bolt action dry firing or precision shooting dry firing?
So um, I have a prop in my house.
Hmm.
It's like a triangle with a bunch of 2x4s on it,
Okay.
and you can shoot it from multiple
Hmm.
positions. And I don't use the DFAT system because I have enough space in my basement where I just have Sharpie dots on the concrete wall in my basement,
Hmm.
and I just run through positions and dry fire onto those Sharpie dots on the wall about 20 feet away.
Okay.
There are options available that change the objective lens in your scope that allow you to dry fire and keep your scope in focus
Really?
down to like something like 7 yards.
Well, I didn't know that.
So you can dry fire super short ranges.
And what are you looking to gain from that dry fire?
Familiarity with your positions and stability.
Hmm. Yeah, I also do have like a small PRS barricade in the basement, and I have some sticky notes on the wall with like Sharpie dots on them. And then
Yep.
what I try to like practice is stability, building a position, and I try to have like a routine of like approaching a stage in my mind. So like first step while putting the rifle in barricade, second like maybe building position and things like that. And just having that muscle memory, like one of the things is just looking at your bubble level or sended level if you have one, because it's
Mhm.
something under pressure you don't think off, but if you build it in your muscle memory, it does really make a difference.
Yeah, there's so much to think about when you are shooting a stage. A minute and 45 seconds and 10 positions. to walk through.
Yeah.
Your firearm really needs to feel like a piece of your body, so you don't even have to think about it.
Yeah.
You can focus on the other things, pay attention to the wind, pay attention to whatever may be happening.
Yeah, like you can dry fire at home, try to like build that position, but obviously like trying to understand wind, that's you have to do that outside with actual ammunition.
Yeah.
Awesome. All right, Joel, thank you so much for taking the time doing this podcast with us, and thank you for sharing your knowledge.
Yeah. Thanks for having me, Sharif.
Awesome. Guys, if you have any other recommendations, if we missed anything, put it in the comments down below. Let's have a conversation in the comments as well. Thanks for watching. Until the next one.